Rick Jansons is with us today, and he is the executive director. Is that a fair title of Habitat for Humanity in the Tri-Cities?
Sure, that works well.
Does that work okay
Yeah.
for you? All right. So Habitat for Humanity, you know, I just cannot even think about that without thinking about former President Jimmy Carter. I mean, this guy has put your program totally on the map. You know that?
He is a great spokesperson, yes.
He is. And he is for so many reasons. But anyway, yeah, he does a good job of that. How many homes have been built here in the Tri-Cities under Habitat for Humanity?
In the Tri-Cities, we are dedicating house number 90 and 91 tomorrow.
90 and 91.
That's
When
right,
did you
we're doing
start?
good. Started in 1994, and we actually cover Benton, Franklin, and Walla Walla counties. So we've built over 100 homes in those three counties. But just here in the Tri-Cities, 91.
Wow, that's exciting. That's good news. How are the families chosen?
We serve families who need help. It's a hand up and not a handout. So there are no freebies in this program. They have to have the ability to pay. That means they have to have a job or some form of income and good credit, because we establish a mortgage with them. They buy their houses from Habitat for Humanity. That's a great mortgage, though. It's no interest and no fees. And we use those mortgage payments and turn them around into new projects, new land, or upcoming houses. It helps us be sustainable.
Oh, I didn't know you were the bank.
We are the bank.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay. All right. So
they have to have a job, ability to pay.
Yes.
They have to be willing to partner with us, and that means they have to work with us, volunteer with us, and be trained through some of the instructors we bring in to help with finances and to help with home ownership responsibilities. And they have to have a need for our services. And need in general means they're poor and can't afford any other kind of mortgage, and they have to be living in substandard housing.
okay.
And we have that here in the Tri-Cities.
Yes. So you have actually quite a list there that people have to begin with, don't they? I mean, they have so many great employment opportunities there, but no place for the people to live.
That's true. And I love that little city. My wife is from Connell.
Oh, okay. I want to know if, since 1994, you have had any folks that, you know, basically failed. They could not meet the mortgage obligation, whatever.
We have had no foreclosures. We
Wow.
have had, I've been with Habitat as executive director for coming on 3 years. We haven't had anyone over 45 days late in those 3 years. I think the reason for that is our staff and our volunteers work with these families. So these families know us by name and they know our faces. And when they're paying us, they're paying Sue, our mortgage person in the office. It's not a faceless mortgage company somewhere in Wisconsin. So there's a real connection there. And they have 500 hours vested of their sweat and sometimes blood in these houses. So it's important to them.
That's pretty interesting. Wow. What kind of responsibilities does a family have to maintain the home at a certain level? I'm going to imagine. I mean, you don't want a garbage-filled yard or whatever representing a Habitat for Humanity home, do you?
No, absolutely not. So we train the families on how to take care of their houses, how to take care of their homes, first to protect the investment. And we talk quite a bit about how a home really is an investment, not just in your family, but in your financial future. We also talk to them about expectations, and what we find after they volunteered and put their, again, sweat into this house for 500 hours, there's a sense of ownership and a sense of pride there. And almost uniformly we see families treating their homes very well, and it's a advantage to the neighborhood that they're located in.
It's a fascinating solution to a problem. Maybe we should be duplicating this more in communities. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk more about, well, I want to talk also about volunteers. I know that you're always looking for people to come and help lift that nail gun and other projects that you have, and let's see what we can do to make some connections. We're back in a moment here on this Friday. Meet in the middle. Welcome back to Meet in the Middle on this Friday. It's December 4th. I'm Christine Brown. My guest today is Rick Jansons. He is the director for Habitat for Humanity here in the Tri-Cities. Hey, if you've got a question, you want to make a comment, we'll add you to our conversation. That number is 547-8726. And so, Rick, tell me about some of the families here. Do they keep volunteering afterwards? I'm curious.
Our families keep on volunteering.
Hmm.
All of the families that I can think of right off the top of my head have done more than the 500 hours that they're the minimum requirement, because they create friendships with the people they're working with, and they create friendships with their neighbors, and they just keep coming back and helping, doing the things they already know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it really builds community.
Yeah. Habitat is based on religious, I don't want to say religious beliefs, but there's certainly a spiritual element to Habitat, isn't there?
Yes, it's based on Christian principles. It is a 501c3, but it's based on Christian principles, and it was founded by Christians. That said, we serve everyone. We work with anybody and welcome anybody to apply, welcome anybody to come and volunteer.
Mm-hmm. What have some of your families, what have been some of their situations? Without names, of course,
Sure.
But tell me some stories about them.
I can't pronounce all their names anyway. We have people from literally all over the world and from the United States, because we built more than 100 homes. We see families, the two that we are dedicating tomorrow, the 2 homes tomorrow, those 2 families are Christian ethnic minorities from Burma who have been being persecuted in Burma, or Myanmar is the other name to the country right now. They spent about, I'll talk to about one of them in particular. When he was 14, he left his village in Burma, crossed minefields, and spent about 10 to 12 days through the jungle, and made it into Thailand, into a refugee camp there when he was 14 years old. He hasn't been back home since then. He lived for about 10 years in that refugee camp. He was granted refugee status by the United Nations and has been resettled here in Kennewick. He has a wife and he has 2 children. And when we broke ground on his house, he talked about how wonderful it was to live in a country that's free, where he doesn't have to worry about his children being hunted down by the army, and that there's opportunity here. That's one of the families. That's an example of one of the families. We also have another family that we're building for in Walla Walla. She is, I believe, 3rd generation American, and she has 3 daughters, and she and her daughters, actually, her older daughters, are working with us there, helping to build their home. These are families that have rich histories. All of them have jobs. All of them are contributing to our community, and it's just a blessing to be able to help them.
Mm-hmm. When can a family sell their home? So, as most people do, they get a starter home. This is kind of like a starter home, and then maybe they might outgrow it, or they want to use that investment to better their lives. When can they do that?
They can always sell their home when the mortgage is paid off.
Yes, okay, so when the
just
mortgage
like
is
you
paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we work with families to provide stable homes. So our goal is to get a family in a house, keep those kids in the same school system, in the good school systems that we have. It's an effort to break the cycle of poverty, and we have great outcomes with these kids. So they're able to sell their homes, especially if they have to move for jobs or things like that. But Habitat has the right of first refusal to buy those homes back and put another family into it.
Oh.
And we do that so that we're able to serve more families here in the Tri-Cities.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about volunteering. And I'm going to assume that you're very dependent on volunteers. How many paid people are here in the Tri-Cities under Habitat?
We have 2 construction people. We have some accountants and bookkeepers and things like that. And we're building 10 to 12 houses a year with just 2 construction people. We rely heavily on volunteers, you're right. And we track those hours, and we do more than 20,000 volunteer hours per year.
20,000?
Yeah.
Yeah. And 2, wow, so basically you have 2 construction supervisors, yeah, so they're dictating, they're planning, they're training, wow. What kind of volunteers? So you have all different kinds of volunteers. You have someone like me who would just be learning some things, and then you have other people, I think, who probably come from the trades and just want to do something enjoyable with their skills,
We do.
right?
We do. We have unions that come out and will use our homes as part of their apprentice training
Oh.
programs. We partner with TriTech High School. The construction trades class there, taught by Tony Maluski, they come out and they work on our homes, and it gives them hands-on experience that they wouldn't get otherwise. We have retired people who come out. We have groups of people who come out on certain days because they get to know each other and they like each other. So we have some groups that come out every Monday. We have some people that come out every Wednesday. We have families in general. The families come out and volunteer usually on Fridays and Saturdays. So it becomes a fun place to be because you're working side by side with your friends and with the families that we're partnering with.
Mm-hmm. How do people contact you if they want to be considered a volunteer?
We have a website like everyone else.
Yeah.
It's habitatbuilds.com or habitatbuilds.org. Either one gets to our website. And there's a volunteer button right on that website.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But you know what you told me during the break here, and I just cannot let this pass, and that is that women are some of your best volunteers.
They are.
Why is that? Why?
As
Why
long
are
as-
women some of your best construction volunteers?
So I'll tell you, as long as my wife isn't listening.
Okay.
They come ready to learn. And when you and I were talking on the break, you
Mhm.
talked a little bit about, well, you don't know if you could lift a nail gun.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things to do, and nail guns are part of it, roofing nail guns are part of it, painting's part of it, trim work's part of it, installing cabinets. Women are more, I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble with this, aren't I?
Okay.
They're a lot more willing to ask questions in general
Mm-hmm.
than like when my sons come out, and they will, I'm keeping this in the family so it's safer.
Yeah, there you go.
They show up with tool belts, and sometimes they know how to use them, sometimes they don't. We have a women-built house that I told you about.
Yeah.
And it is starting again. It's every May it starts. And it's put together by groups of professional construction women here in the Tri-Cities who are really good at their job.
I've met some of them, yes. That's exciting.
And they build a house, and they do a wonderful job.
So, women-built house, but also people can just come along and build or participate in any of the
Well,
homes.
not only that, I
Yeah.
think they're part of the National Association of Women in Construction.
Yes.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
we have a lot of groups that go to Tri-City Americans games, and we salute them. And several times throughout the year, we will have
Mhm.
them, you know, thanks to our groups in attendance tonight, Boy Scouts, and we'll have the National Association of Women in Construction, and they're also ticketing partners sometimes with the Americans. So there are a lot more women out there that are involved in this than you might ordinarily think.
Right.
Absolutely right. And they are one of our sponsors, and NAWIC is what we would call the National Association of Women in Construction. They help lead that Women Build project, and to be honest, they help lead a lot of the other houses as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, so besides donating my time, obviously, you'd take my money too, wouldn't you?
Of course.
And
I'll ask right after the radio for you.
and I can donate online.
Yes, same
Yeah.
website.
Do you have obviously most organizations like yours have fundraising events that you're doing all the time. What is the next one or the current one that you're working on right now?
What we're doing right now is we've partnered with GISA Credit Union, and GISA is matching the first $10,000 in donation for the month of December through December 24th. You can donate at any GISA branch, or you can donate online at the GISA website or at the habitatbuilds.org website for Habitat for Humanity.
Mm-hmm. What's it called?
A Home for the Holidays.
Home for the Holidays.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. That is pretty nice. So Geesa's giving $10,000, the first $10,000 that is donated. That is good. What is the store that you have? I have always been confused by this store. Can I shop in it? Can I donate to it? What is it?
We have a store nationwide there called Habitat for Humanity Restores. Here in Washington, they're just called Habitat for Humanity Stores due to a trademark issue.
Mm-hmm.
It is if you think about Goodwill, Goodwill takes in clothes and sells clothes. We're like the Home Depot or the Lowe's of the Goodwill. And we take in donations of cabinets, furniture, hardware, windows, appliances. We accept those donations both at the store on Welshian Way in Richland or at Goodwill locations throughout the Tri-Cities. They will collect those for us, and if you tell them it's for Habitat for Humanity, they set it aside and we come by and pick them up from the Goodwill locations. And anyone can shop in that store and come by, you know, if you're looking for a used stove, or if you're looking for windows for that little project you might have going on at home. We have hardware, we have tools, we have furniture. It's a good place to shop.
So you have tools too, that is great. So when I'm making a donation like that, it's not going into a Habitat home, it's going into this store that someone else can buy, and you get the revenue from that.
Well, I would say that's mainly true. Sometimes we get donations of new materials.
Oh, okay.
And our construction staff will look through those. If we can use new materials on a house, we will do that.
All right, wow. Oh man, we're out of time already, but I certainly have learned a lot about Habitat that I didn't know before, and hopefully other folks will be interested in providing you some volunteer hours. I think it sounds like a fun thing to do, actually, and be hanging out with other people. I like that. Rick, thank you so much, and I wish you the best for the holidays.
Thank you, and we'll be talking about a donation in a minute.
All right, we're back in a moment. Stay with us.